Lauren, do your New York accent you just did for me. Do it for everybody.
That wasn't a New York accent. That was my stupid accent. You do it.
Shut
do
up!
it. That was
Oh my
just me
God,
being stupid. I didn't realize that sounded like a New Yorker. I'm so sorry to any
no!
New Yorker. I just offended because I didn't think that sounded like a New York accent.
No,
all.
that was like a legit self-own on me because I didn't even ask you what the accent was. I just assumed you were doing a New York accent, and then you're like, no, that's my stupid accent. It's like, oh my God, that's such a sound.
Yeah.
Anyway. Welcome everybody to Simply Amazing. Oh my gosh, I feel like just, you know what? Done. We're over. The show's over. Thank you for tuning in.
That's kind of how I feel about what we're talking about today. So it works.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the funny thing. We were talking about this yesterday when we recorded another episode yesterday, and we were talking about like, what are we going to talk about? Are we really going to spend a lot of time talking about this? And Lauren very, very cleverly, and she knows us so well. She's like, girl, every time we're like, we don't know what to say, we end up talking for like 2.5 hours. So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen here. This could be a long one or this could be a short one because we are talking about Legion of X2. And by the way, I am the OG Nocturne. That is Nachturne, Nocturne. And of course, I have the fabulous, recently in the same room as the actual Chris Evans, if you believe my Photoshop.
I mean, I was just honored. I couldn't believe it. It was like a fever dream or like I was very much hallucinating. I wasn't sure, but I saw that. I was like, it must have happened. It definitely
did. I just want to we're all over the place right now, but I think it's just we don't want to talk about what we were going to talk about. I just want to mention that Chris Evans is a literal, like, a gift to humanity because I read that BuzzFeed article about him, about like everyone thought he was photoshopped into all those Disney pictures. And he's like, no, I just don't know what to do with my hands. And I feel very awkward when people take pictures of me. And it's like, who does not relate to that? Am I right?
Yeah. Well, and okay. So those of you, so we're recording this the week of the release of the puppy interview. This Friday that we're recording this, they're gonna be releasing his interview that he did with the puppies, the BuzzFeed puppy interview. I'm so fucking stoked. It's gonna be ridiculous. We're all like, my ovary will destroy. And yes, I only have one ovary. Don't worry about it, guys. But it's going to explode.
You only need one. That's all you really need to get the job done. So you're told it. I'm losing my mind. I will be there with bells on.
Mark your calendars. Work meetings canceled. Everything. Friday, I am not functional.
No, there are certain men who just like, or women, men in general, but we're talking about men right now. But like, there are certain ones where it's just like they enter a room or a screen and it's just like, melt. So, and he's one of them for sure. Idris Elba's another one. Let me tell you. I just saw the trailer for that movie he's going to be in where he plays like a genie. Oh my God. Like, I am all in for that movie. All in.
You're all in for getting some wishes from him.
Girl, I got more than 3 wishes. I'm like Kelly Kapoor, like, yes, Charles, you needed me? Like, yes, God. Idris, you needed me?
Oh, God. Well, hi, guys. I'm Lauren, your friendly neighborhood bi. And as Lisa said, we are attempting to not talk about, but we are going to talk about Legion of X2. Because, you know, it's the series that's Kurt is supposed to be headlining, right? Like, it's supposed to be the Kurt show. It's supposed to be a huge story revolving around him and other things. But I don't know about you, Lisa, but this issue felt like there's about 20 stories going on, and 19 of them I do not care about.
I also feel like very little from the first issue actually meant anything in the second issue. It was like, okay, yeah, Weaponless Zen's here. Okay, we introduced her in the first issue, but like all this other stuff, like this random shit with Banshee and like the Skinwalker. Was I asleep during the last issue? Because I don't remember much about that at all. And it also feels very similar to what we saw in Way of X, which was the whole like onslaught thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm willing to give my boy a shot, and by my boy I mean Kurt, and like let's give another couple issues and see where it goes. But it just doesn't. I do not understand
It
where it's
feels
gonna go.
like, yeah, it feels like for whatever reason, Spurrier, the writer, Spurrier, is trying to do almost too much with this. And it's like, you don't need to. Like, this book doesn't have to, a story doesn't have to be super complicated or have 20 stories within it to be good or to have an impact on Krakoa or whatever, right? Like, I would have no problem if this was just a story about Kurt finding himself as a leader with a little plot here or there, like maybe one or two subplots, and that's it. I would have no fucking issue with that. In fact, I'd probably be thrilled. But yeah, now there's the whole, I thought the mother lady was supposed to be a big bad guy, but now you've got the Skinwalker, and now Banshee's losing mind. Where did Banshee come from?
He just shows up. Like he just hears us a party and he shows up, I guess. I don't know. That was yeah, so here's one thing I had a thought of this morning when I was waking up and thinking about this book. It's like, I don't think this is a Kurt book. I think this is a Legion book. And I think that it's called Legion of X. And I think that I think the whole thing is that probably Cy Spurrier, I mean, the story seems to revolve around Legion more than anyone else. So, like, Legion's the one making the deal with Mother Righteous. Legion's got his love affair with Ruth. All this stuff. And I have a feeling that he probably pitched a Legion book and Marvel was like, okay, but like, who else is in it? Because we can't see a Legion book. Like, even though Legion was a TV show that was moderately successful. I didn't see it, but I've heard it was great.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's just something about it that just doesn't feel like Kurt's book, even though he's, one of the main characters. And that happens to him a lot. He seems to get sidelined a ton, even in his own shit, and I'm tired of it.
I mean, a lot of people are like, but he's had so many of his own stories and limited series. He's always in an X-Men story. Like, how can you say he doesn't get, enough content or whatever? And it's that the content, I would rather have quality than quantity at this point. And we're not getting that. It's throw him in there. It's, oh yeah, he's on the Quad Council, but he's also doing, I definitely am. I'm starting to understand better other Kurt fans have been saying this longer than I have thought it. Where they haven't liked Kurt during this Krakoan era, or they haven't liked what the X Office has been doing with him. And this line is kind of, unless it turns around real quick, it's starting to solidify that for me as well. He's kind of just a tool used to further some plot with Krakoa or whatever, and that's a huge disservice to him, obviously. And it's not right. And yeah, now that you say it like that, where Spurrier's like, let's do a Legion book, and how he's gonna have issues with his daddy Xavier, which that was along the first issue, by the way, and that was a big part of Way of X. I think you're right. I think this 100% is a Legion book. This is not a Kurt book. Kurt's just fucking there. He's another device or tool, and like, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I know. And it seems silly for us to like come to the conclusion, oh, this is a Legion book 2 issues into it, and it's called Legion of X. I mean, clearly, but still, it's like, that's not what we were promised. I feel like we were promised a Kurt book with this, and it is not a Kurt book. It doesn't feel like a Kurt book. It's just, yeah. And like, even like, it just feels like so many writers don't fucking know what to do with him. And I don't understand, like, here's what Kurt needs? Kurt needs a fucking woman writing him. Like, that's what he needs. He needs a woman writing him, because you know what? The men are all failing him. Except for Roberto Kira Sakasa, whose name I never can say. His take on him was fucking great in the Nightcrawler run. But, like, it just feels like, I don't know, it's like, maybe it's just like they just can't touch into that side of them where Kurt's this romantic and all these things, because it just feels like nobody seems to understand him. I actually mentioned this. I was on Mutant Watch this past weekend for Pride, and we talked about Kurt a little bit. It was a Mystique and Destiny episode. Of course, Kurt comes up because he's their daughter, or he's their daughter, he's their son.
And we're gender bending Kurt today, guys.
I mean.
I want noted it wasn't me that did it, so like,
I mean, listen, I'm literally behind me is nothing but a ton of art of Girl Kurt. So like,
You
it's
mean
totally tracks.
Nocturne?
Yes, Nocturne. Thank you. Yes, you're right. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. You're absolutely right. She is not
You're
Girl
so
Kurt. She's
welcome.
Nocturne. So now I fucking lost my train of thought. Oh, Mutant Watch. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about it, and like even his moment during Inferno where he does the vote and he votes to resurrect Destiny. Even that was like didn't make fucking sense. Like
Right.
it's not that he wouldn't vote to resurrect Destiny so much as he wouldn't do it because it would make his mother happy. Like there is nothing that Kurt cares about less than Mystique's happiness. Like Kurt would
Yeah.
probably be more likely to care about fucking Graydon Creed's happiness over fucking Mystique's happiness. Like
Well,
that's tea.
yeah. And I agree. There's so many during this era, there have been many like out of character moments that were like, okay, but maybe it'll get explained. And that's the worst part. These aren't even moments that are given explanation that we don't like or agree with. We just get no explanation. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, we got no explanation for that. Like, I would at this point, I would at least it would make me think they care more about his character if they at least gave us an explanation, even if it was garbage. It would still suck, but I'd be like, you know what? At least you think you're paying attention and you think you're trying. That's still something. But at this point, yeah, he's just a fucking plot device and tool. And like, I'm the same with you. I don't get why they're writing him like this. I do believe a huge part of the issue with him, though, in this era, especially, is the fact that they're going head in still on the religious crap with him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he does. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a faith. But the fact that everything he does revolves around him being a priest, but he's also not a priest, they're acknowledging that. So can we move past that already? Like, I think that's holding him back because they think we have to write him super religious, so we can't do anything else with him. One, that's fucking rude to people that are super
Yeah.
religious, their own people, right? And then two, do something else with his character. He is more than just a man of faith. That's not
Do you know
all
what
he is.
do you know what's super funny when you talk about the super religious thing and like and that like there's more to it and to do more things with it is
Hmm.
so I just started watching Yellow Jackets. Have you seen Yellow Jackets on Showtime?
No.
Okay. I just started watching it yesterday. I binged a couple episodes. I mainly did it because I got really so Showtime has fucking they've I guarantee this is going to mean something. Showtime has pulled me in because they gave me like free trials on a couple shows and I fucking fell in love with them and I'm like, well, I guess I'm getting Showtime now. And it's basically I Love That for You with just Vanessa Bayer is a fucking amazing show that is so good.
Mhm.
If you are an awkward woman who grew up awkward a little bit, you're gonna fucking relate so much. Or an awkward
Mhm.
anybody. It's great. And then the other one's Yellow Jackets. I just started watching, and so there's a character in Yellow Jackets who is religious, and she is always praying. Like I wouldn't say always, but she's very religious. She's very like grounded in her faith, and like the whole idea of Yellow Jackets. There's a plane crash. This fucking show is insane. Where they're gonna go with it? I mean, I'm only like three episodes in, but like I know where they're going, and it's gonna get it's fucking crazy for those of you who've already watched it. But um, so but she's like very religious, and so she does pray a lot. She prays to God, all this stuff. The thing is, though, is that it's not used as a device in the show to like make her separate from her teammates because the whole show is like they're all teammates. They're a soccer team, so it's not used to separate her. It actually is used to kind of ground her a little bit. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, she does go a little off kilter with it. And again, I'm only a couple episodes in, so who knows where it's going to go. But there's just it's just that difference of using a character who has religion, who has faith, but you don't necessarily have to have it be for example, like I look at this character and it's like, yeah, she's the religious one, but it's like there's more to her than that. And I feel
Yeah.
like with Kurt, it's like they keep forgetting that. Like there's more to him than just the religious part of him. And when you were talking about him as like a plot device, um, now granted, this might just be me because this is who I am, but uh, another character that has fallen into the plot device, uh, pit many times is Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, aka
Yes.
his AU baby mama. Like, you know what? Give them a fucking book. Let them go live in an AU and be in a fucking book and have babies. Like, if you're just going to plot device them both, then do something. Do something interesting with them. You know?
Yeah, and I like that that you talked about how, yeah, like it's with the show, it's still a part of who that character is, but it's yeah, it's just a part of her and that's it. Like, um, I
Yeah,
just,
they
it's fucking, it's beyond irritating that they have a character as great as Kurt and has been written so well in the past. Like, he's had some wonderful stories, wonderful moments, both written by men and women, even though I would actually agree with you now that I think about it. I think a lot of the women that have written him have either done it with better ease or were just better at it. Like, more consistently, women can write him well compared to the men who have written him and how many of them wrote him well in character, things like that. We did the Pride episode with Amazing X-Men 13, and it's even funnier because in that story he was also just a plot device. Now that I think about it, he was there
mhm.
to and you talked about with the show you're mentioning from Showtime, where her religion is just used to separate her from others. Well, Kurt's is clearly used to separate him from others. So in that story, for example, his faith is used to separate between people who are okay with being gay and stuff and people that aren't. And then of course that gap is bridged towards the end where he's like, doesn't matter, like I'm cool with it, doesn't matter my faith, you're still a good
Mhm.
person, doesn't matter. But that was a plot device. Like, he
Yeah.
was literally there to serve that desire to share that story and to get to that conclusion for the audience reading. And yeah, now I'm even more mad. Like, him becoming a priest, honestly, like, this may be a hot take, but him becoming a priest is, I think, the worst thing that's ever been done to his
No,
character
absolutely,
long
totally
term.
agree. It was a bad choice, but it was a choice that was it was like it was it was like a choice. It's like it was like the difference between choosing like a little ball peen hammer for your project or a fucking sledgehammer, and they chose the sledgehammer. Like, there's no nuance to it. There's no like subtlety. It's just for up until Kurt became a priest, he had like 25 years under him of like being a faithful but flawed person of faith. Whereas, like,
Right.
he didn't, like, I mean, like, listen, the guy was having premarital sex with fucking anybody who came by and was blonde. So,
Yeah.
like, he just fucking, whoever could show up and convince him that they were the damsel in distress, he would fuck him. So it's just, and like the idea that a character who had spent so much of his, you know, his time in the books as this kind of swashbuckling, like Errol Flynn esque, I don't want to say Lothario, but a little bit. I mean, then all of a sudden he's a priest, and it's like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Explain how this happened, because it doesn't
Right.
make any sense. And going back to talking about female writers taking on Kurt, the last time that I can think of that a woman wrote him, like, significantly, not just like in the background or as like a guest in their book, was when I mean, I could be wrong, and correct me if I'm right, but I think it was the last time was like Sean McGuire, I think I'm saying that, who did
Mm-hmm.
his story in the Age of X-Men, Amazing Nightcrawler. And I really like that story.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good story. It's very sad, it's very depressing. It's like, it honestly, it's one of those stories that actually haunted me, because the first time I read it, I didn't get it 100%. And then when I read it the second time and was like, oh shit, no, that's not like a clone. That's like his actual baby that him and Megan had, that they're fucking trying to find. Yeah, it hits you really fucking hard.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, yeah, I just, yeah, going back to what I originally said, I completely, like, I understood it to an extent before, but I wasn't completely feeling it. Now I completely feel what a lot of other Nightcrawler fans have been feeling with this era, which is he's not, he's not getting, he's not being served well. He's not being written intentionally. He's kind of just there when they need him to be there in some shape or form. I mean, even in way of and the Hellfire Gala last year, when he heard Wanda and Magneto, Magneto, sorry, I call him that sometimes, Magneto,
Magneto.
talking,
Girl, Magneto.
talking
I love
during
that.
talking, and then Wanda, died, right? And then there's a Trial of Magneto thing. But there
Th-
were specific panels where you saw him drunk hearing it, and then nothing came of that. What was the point? What the fuck was the point?
don't, oh god. I don't even don't get me started on that, because I had so many theories and I was so sure of my
I know you
theories,
did.
and nothing panned out. And again, it's just it's so my whole thing is that like comic books. So talking about comic books as a medium, everything on the page is put there intentionally. Nothing is there accidentally. It's not like the real world where it's like, oh, Kurt just happened to be there and just happened to be drunk there and he didn't actually hear anything. No. This is a fucking comic book and everything is put there intentionally. So why? So why was that put there? Why did he vote yes for Destiny to make his mother happy? It just, so many things, it just feels like these little threads that are just dropped. And what doesn't make any sense to me is that Cy Spurrier, who wrote that scene, is still writing him. So I'm like, here's the thing. Maybe something's going to come of it. I have not read Sabretooth. Is Toad still in the hole? Is he still in the pit? Toad in the hole.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen him. Sorry, Toad fans. I don't know what's happening with your boy either. What the hell?
Toad, I'm just laughing at myself saying Toad in the hole. Toad is still in the hole. He's still in the pit. So here's the thing. There's a good chance that this will be addressed because there's a couple so the fact of the matter is that Kurt's now the lawman, right? He's the the dangle, and he is he's in charge of looking into all this shit. He also was drunk and passed out, but in the vicinity of where Wanda and Magneto were conspiring about how they were going to deal with this situation and framing Toad. So could there be something to come of it? Absolutely. Does it seem like they're going to fucking address it at all in this book? No, because the book is going in so many different directions. It's they are cops, but they're not cops. They he's gone to the Iraqi to look into gods. It's okay, is it cops? Is it religion? Pick a lane. At this point, I don't fucking care. You can call them cops and they can be cops, but just fucking pick a lane. If I see one more fucking panel where someone calls them cops and then the character's actually, we're not cops. Okay, show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. That is classic, a classic writing technique or writing advice that you get from people is when you're writing something, you stop saying things unless there's meaning behind it, unless eventually we're going to find out they actually are fucking cops and they were trying to hide it the whole I don't know. It's just, again, there could be a lot of stuff being built here that we don't know about, but it just doesn't feel like it right now. It feels like a lot of stuff is just being kind of
it's yeah. I agree with what you said before. There's no nuance to it. There is no subtlety. There is no build up. If you're going to build up to a lot of the stuff and to the point where you are going to address these things, yeah, again, I'm at the point where I don't care about a damn thing that's happening in this series, except I want Weaponless Zen and Kurt to fuck. I think that'll help a lot of things. I shit you not. I think it's going to help a lot of things. But now, with the second issue, everything but that is addressed. I will say I did like watching Weaponless Zen almost kill Beast. I think they should have let her kill him. He can take his time in the resurrection protocols. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, get Beast out of here. I fucking hate Beast. So, yeah.
Look,
no, I would totally agree.
I really think that's just a parallel to see that, because she, tussled with this, big blue furry guy and almost killed him. But then eventually her and Kurt are going to tussle and she's not going to kill him. She's going to fuck him. I need it.
No.
Cy Spurrier, stop doing all this crazy shit. Stop it. I don't want it. I don't want this larger than life 20 stories at once. I want one main story with one tiny subplot. That's it. Simple.
Listen, guys. When Lauren reads about this, she thinks she's back in the pants. She doesn't want that. Sorry, that's for anybody out there who. I think you should leave people out there. So,
listen. Listen. Marvel, look, you can scrap whatever Cy Spurrier's done if he is continuing in these next issues. If the next issues continue with all this craziness and it doesn't get together, Marvel, you have full permission. Even if it takes another 2 months to print, I don't care. Scrap it. Have him just draw get the arse to draw, and then Spurrier to just write it where it's just fucking it. Like, I feel like with this, and this is a complaint with the whole era actually with Krakoa. I think a lot of these books, not all of them, but most of them, to me, they're trying to do these larger than life stories, and one, they're not all connecting, and that's a big part of the Krakoan era that's been nice, is that they do connect in some way, even when they are telling their own stories. Two, there are all these larger than life things, like even more so than before. Like, everybody's trying to be like writing like Hickman, but they aren't.
Yeah.
Stop trying to write like Hickman. That's not what you're supposed to do. If you want Hickman in there, get him back in there and let him finish this how he wanted to. Otherwise, stop trying to be him. I don't want it. None of us want it. It's either Hickman or do your own thing. And everybody is still trying to copy what was done last era, but put on these other twists, and they're so extreme, I think, especially if they're wanting to continue the Krakoan era. So, the only books I've really been digging have been Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red. And that's it. Like, I even dropped Marauders, and I loved Duggan's Marauders. I don't read his X-Men, though. I don't like him on X-Men, but I loved his Marauders.
You know what my thing is with this whole thing is, like, I think back on, like, my favorite comics I've ever read, my favorite runs, and they are almost never something that, like, ties into the big event or the big, like, this is the reason I have been in and out of comics. This is the reason, like, I come in for a bit and then I leave, is because it feels like all of this stuff, I don't need it. I don't need all this stuff. Give me a good story. I don't care. Like, if the story is good enough, I won't care how it ties into everything. It doesn't fucking matter. Just give us a good story. And I don't, like I said, I'm not, no tea, no shade. I'm willing to give it a chance. I will say that Mother Righteous is pretty awesome looking. As far as a character design, that's a great character design. I am all about Mother Righteous. I mean, I would cosplay it if I felt the need to paint myself red. I do not, because I just can't with that.
I think she's hot. I think, honestly, most of the story should be about Kurt and, him realizing that, they are being like cops, and he denies it for a while, right? And then eventually some event happens, like, where he's forced to realize, oh shit, I'm doing the one thing I didn't intend to do. And so he has this moral, this moral debate within himself, and eventually he finds a way to, actually help people without being a fucking cop. And, Weaponless Zen is a huge part in that, right? Because we saw in the first issue, she is challenging, his perfect ways. And even Kurt within himself is doubting himself. You can see in those conversations from the first issue. That's the main story I want to see. And, there could be other little things going on, and the other subplot would be, obviously, like we see David and Legion chatting up with Mother Righteous, and there's shit going on with that, right? She's the villain, and then eventually Kurt's gonna find some way in his swashbuckler ways to defeat her. It's gonna be great, and get Legion to get his shit together, and he's gonna find himself. I've done this story. I think it's great. I think if that's what he was doing, that is very much needed. I think it would work. I think it's a banger. That's not what's happening currently with this Banshee crap. I don't know what this is. It doesn't belong in this book. I don't know why they decided to shove it in Legion of X, and I don't know who to blame for that, whether Spurrier or the rest of the X office saying, we need this Banshee story. We're gonna put it in this book because we're not gonna give him his own book, but it needs to go somewhere. So I don't know who to blame for that, and I'm not really about blaming, but just more that's not something that needs to be done.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing too, is like, so, okay, are they cops? Are they not cops? Whatever. There's no question that this book is being written kind of like a procedural. It's kind of like SVU. Like, this is why I keep making the Reno 911 jokes, because, like, the book literally starts with them having a meeting, like, they're cops and doing all this stuff. But the issue is like, so here's the thing. I've not kept it a secret how much I love true crime. I watch a lot of true crime. I listen to a lot of true crime. When you have, like, procedurals and stuff like that, usually there's, like, the main story and then the side story, or there's something else going on the side, but there's the main story. Here it feels like there's two huge main stories, this Skinwalker thing and this Gods thing, and it's just like, it's too much. We need one story that is, like, the story that we're actually focusing on. I mean, I guess that the story we're really focusing on is the Gods story, but again, it's and the other thing too is like, okay, so they are not cops, but they are cops. Like the Kurt side of thing is like the cops side of thing. Like that's where we're getting like the kind of like more cop stuff. And then the Legion side of things seems to not fit at all thematically with the rest of the book. It's just like he's going to become a god. I will say I do love the idea of Kurt and Destiny running the Quiet Council together with a bunch of amps. That's great.
I love that shit. And yeah, I think more than anything, I think this book is setting up too much at once because, like, Legion of X, to my knowledge, isn't ongoing. It has been solicited as a limited, meaning this can continue and have multiple arcs, which could mean Spurrier could start off with one thing, the next arc progress into something. I think the Mother Righteous stuff should be the first arc. After that, the gods thing evolves, okay? And that would be the second arc, is dealing with the gods. But it seems like he's thrown in too much too fast. And it's like, oh, buddy, I get you want to set things up to use later, hopefully, if this does continue to be ongoing and continue with different arcs. But you can't throw everything in the first 2 issues, buddy. Like, you just can't, and you can't do it that directly. Like, if you want to throw in little things that by the second arc, we go back and we go, oh, I didn't even notice that before, but it's there. But everything is fucking in your face, man. And it's, I mean, as somebody who loves go back and see stuff that's connected in the past and stuff that goes to, whatever arc you're currently on, it's too much right now. Like, you've got to take the time to build it up. And yeah, I wonder if Spurrier is writing this like a limited series, even though it's an ongoing currently. Like, don't do that. If you have an ongoing, write it as an ongoing.
The thing is, do we even know what's an ongoing and what's not an ongoing? You know what I mean? Like,
true.
Like, because Hellions, I'm sure, was considered an ongoing until it wasn't anymore.
Well, it was. Well, everything starts as an ongoing, and then when they go to the next era, yeah, things change. So, like, Hellions was an ongoing until, like, around probably, like, the 15th issue or so. I can't remember how many issues. It was, like, 18 or something. But, yeah, eventually they decide, so we're going to end this era, and with that, Hellions is ending, which also is garbage. I have no funny and depressing book. I only have depressing books. I only have books I don't understand. And I have Immortal X-Men, which is great. I have no complaints about that book so far. It's fantastic. But other than that, I have just no so funny, you're crying, and then the next page you're actually crying because it's so depressing books. Give it back, please. Zeb Wells, I know you're on Spider-Man, Spidey fans. I'm sorry, I have to take him back. Please come back.
I would agree with that. And the thing is Kurt is like the perfect character to have a book like that. He is
the perfect one to have to lead the Hellions. Absolutely.
Well, he's very like here's the thing. I don't think he'd ever work with Sinister. I don't think he'd ever like choose to like be that close to Sinister.
I hope not, God.
I just think I feel like you can't I feel like anybody, which is kind of actually, this is kind of funny because Havoc was in Hellions, and I'm going to say this, but like, I mean, and as gross as Sinister was around the Summerses, I feel like anybody who was around that at the time would be like, I don't want to have anything to do with that guy.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody wants to be around Sinister. That's the thing. When you talk about Hellions, people are like, well, this character can't be on it because they won't be around. Nobody wanted to be around Sinister. Literally, nobody on that team wanted anything to do with Sinister. Nobody likes Sinister. Like, literally. But how does he have a wall council and stuff? Because of people like fucking Charles who are, oh, look, we're so good. But they're actually, fucking, poisoned at the core. And that's Charles at this point. That's become his character, whether you like or not as a fan. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But that's what he's become. I mean, even Magneto stepped away and has called out Charles a little bit. And Charles is basically his husband. So, your spouse is never going to have all the same opinions as you. That's incredibly rare, You'll even disagree on huge things. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, I think that'd be a great opportunity to also challenge Kurt morally and get him to realize that, hey, being a pretentious, well, I'm a cop and I'm on the Quiet Council isn't shit. Get back to your swashbuckler ways. Leading a team of Hellions, that would sure as shit get him to swashbuckler ways within 5 issues.
I just want to say that we were like, I don't know how much we're going to talk about this. We're like 34 minutes in. We really have barely talked about the issue, but it's okay. I don't think we even have to talk about it that much. Like, sorry, I'm making a lot of noise in my chair.
That's this whole discussion is the issue's a mess. This series is not a Kurt book. And frankly, if you're a Kurt fan, you can either do like Lisa and I are going to do, Lisa probably more than I am, which is hang on, hang in there. We're going to see how this book turns out. Or you can be like, fuck the Krakoan era with Kurt. They've hurt him. And you know what? That's also valid. I support either option at this point because
There's only so much we can do. There's only so much we can do as Kurt fans. We're doing our goddamn best, and we're doing what we can.
Best.
We're doing our goddamn best. That's me with my stupid voice.
God damn it. I'm never gonna live that down. I thought I was sounding stupid, man.
No, listen, you did sound stupid. It's just that I immediately made it sound like you were doing a New York accent, and then it just became me as just a cell phone. So
don't ever let me talk like that in New York, Lisa. I swear to God, don't ever let me talk like that because I will get broken. Somebody.
Oh, I'm gonna make you. So I want to just point out one last thing before we wrap up. The one thing that when I opened this book and I was like, what the fuck? Was, so you know how like on the first page they always have the characters listed, the important characters of the issue. And it's like, I'm going to read them off. It's Nightcrawler, Banshee, Juggernaut, Pixie, Dr. Nemesis, Sage, Aura Serrata, Mother Righteous, Weaponless Zen, Polly, Fabian Cortez, Forget-Me-Not, Blindfold, and Legion. That's like 15 characters that they said are important. Polly is the smoking guy whose wife is named Lisa, and listen, that was not how I wanted my name to get into a comic. But like, yeah, Polly's the smoking guy, and I get it. Like, I guess my whole thing too is like, Polly could have just been a device in the first issue to show that they're kind of cops. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't understand why everything is important, because it's just making my eyes glaze over. Like, okay, I'm going back to fan fiction.
I honestly, I'm just, I want to be more positive about this book and be like, it was a banger, but, no, it wasn't. I'm hoping it gets better too. Give me more weaponless Zen and Kurt. That's literally all I want. I'm not asking much, guys. I'm not asking much. Like, just do that, and I'll be happy as a clam.
The only thing
complicated is not always better.
The only thing I really want to see is someone do a fucking killer cosplay of Mother Righteous with those glowing disco balls.
That would be really cool. Yeah,
that is hot as shit. But other than that, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sticking around.
If anybody does a Mother Righteous cosplay, don't find Lisa while she's drunk dressed like that, God, because I can't be held accountable for what she's gonna say.
That is true. The other thing I do want to mention is thank you, Sai, for giving us some fucking Juggernaut Black Tom. Like,
true.
I will always ship them. Again, we have our fabulous shirt designed by Chango that we are doing in our shop for the Trevor Project. So please go buy one and support the Trevor Project with us. But yeah, I will always, always, always love Juggernaut and Black Tom. And totally forgot that Banshee was Black Tom's cousin. Totally forgot that was a thing. But thank you for reminding me, Sai. Yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, let's see what happens. Beast can suck it. I'm done. I don't care about him.
Listen, somebody just slice his head off. I mean, just he'll get resurrected. Just let him actually die.
The other thing I think too that this book is not benefiting from is like the two issues came out week one, the week after the other. And that just feels like there was no time to even settle with the first issue until when I didn't even realize it. I was like, what the fuck? What? It's out already?
Well, to be fair, that's better than, I mean, it's still not perfect, but it's a better problem than people waiting like 2 to 3 months for the next issue of their book to come out. Like She-Hulk, I think that book, if anybody reads it, that book hasn't come out for like 2 or 3 months.
Girl, you're talking to somebody who reads Saga and has read it since its inception. I understand waiting for your book to come out. Yeah, but get it.
Well, no, but the problem is it's not just like one book that's put on hold because the creators choose to, and you can still go read other things month to month. Everything is having fucking delays still. I mean, Legion of X could have another delay and we don't know. Like, I mean, it's just atrocious. And you can tell that, you know, Marvel and DC and all these companies, they're picking and choosing which books they consider most important to make sure they are printed as close to on time as possible or still printed quicker than other series. You can tell they're prioritizing things, and so at least, Legion of X still, after the first issue, they didn't push back too, I guess. They were still like, okay, well, that's Tuesday, we're just gonna let it come out. Because that was my concern, was, oh, well, we had to wait an extra month for one, they're gonna make us wait an extra month for two now, like everything's going back. But so far that hasn't happened. So that much to say, people, if your books are coming out on time, be very grateful right now, because a lot of shit is not. There's still so many fucking delays.
For sure. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I think that's what we got on Legion of X. 40 minutes or so we did, and so that's something. Didn't really talk about the issue much, but it's okay. Yeah. So, Lauren, where can they find you, girl?
You can find me on Twitter at friendlymBHDBI, and all my other links are there.
You can find all of us on Twitter, Instagram, everything at our website, simplyamazingpod.com. You'll find our shop there, where, again, everything we sell from this shop is going to be going to the Trevor Project. I might throw another design up soon because I'm feeling inspired. Who knows? We'll see. But everything is going to towards the Trevor Project that we sell through the shop. That includes, we have our fabulous Not Just Buddies bra shirt designed by Chango. With Black Tom and Juggernaut. And then, of course, our Banff shirt that I designed myself. Badass mutant fuzzy dude. So you want to get one of those? I know. I wore mine yesterday. I actually wore mine out, and I was having a good time in it. So yeah, please go ahead and grab those so we can donate that money to the Trevor Project. And yeah, follow us on Twitter. Find us on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on all of it. And all of our... Sorry, I'm doing my stupid voice.
Jesus fucking Christ. I regret everything. I regret this episode.
No. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, go find us at our simplyamazingpod.com. That's where you'll find everything. We got transcripts going up too. So if you don't like to listen, I mean, I guess you're not listening to this right now, but you have a friend who doesn't like to listen, but they like to read, go read our transcripts. But yeah, we got lots of stuff coming up. We should be doing a live eventually soon too. Like, we haven't done a live in a while, so maybe we should plan for one soon. Do some giveaways and fun stuff. But yeah, we'll make a plan. But like us, review us, rate us, subscribe to us, do whatever you need to do to us. And you're simply amazing. I don't got nothing else to say about this book. You're all simply amazing just for tuning in and listening to us, guys.